Today, we're diving into something pretty wild, a world where you can literally bet on reality itself. I'm talking about a place where finance and tech smash together, letting you put your money where your mouth is. So let me just ask you this. What if you could bet on tomorrow's news? And no, I'm not talking about stocks or anything like that. I mean the actual events, the stuff that shapes our world every single day. And we're talking about a huge range of things, Stuff like, who's going to win the next election? Are interest rates going up? How much money is that new superhero movie going to make? Or, what's the price of Bitcoin going to be next month? This is the world we're jumping into.
All right, so what's the platform that makes all this possible? It's called Polymarket, and it's really interesting because they don't just call themselves a betting site. They call it an information market. So what does that even mean? Let's get into it.
Okay, here's the nuts and bolts. Polymarket is basically a platform where you can bet on real-world stuff using crypto. The two big things to remember here are decentralized and cryptocurrency. And we're not talking about volatile coins. It mostly uses stablecoins like USDC, which are basically like a digital dollar. But here's their big, grand idea. Their mission isn't just about letting people place bets. It's way more ambitious. They want to tap into the knowledge of everyone using the platform to basically create this massive, unbiased source of truth about what's coming next.
And that word, decentralized, it's a really big deal here because it's all built on the blockchain. There's no single company in the middle holding your fines or calling all the shots. It's kind of like the users are in control, not some central authority. That's a huge difference from most platforms you're used to.
Okay, that's the theory. Sounds pretty cool, right? But how does a bet actually work? Like, how do you go from, I think this will happen, to actually getting paid out? Let's break down the whole process. So the first thing to get your head around is this. You're not really placing a bet like you would on a sports game. It's much more like buying a stock. You're buying shares of an outcome.
And the process itself is actually pretty simple. First, you just pick a market, something you have an opinion on. Then, you buy either yes shares or no shares. As people buy and sell, that share price moves up and down. You can cash out any time, or you can just hold on until the very end. If you're right, each of your shares pays out $1. If you're wrong, well, they go to zero.
Now this is the coolest part. The price of a share, which is always somewhere between $0 and $1, isn't just a random number. It's actually the market's real-time prediction. So if a yes share costs, say, 72 cents, that means the market collectively thinks there's a 72% chance of that thing happening. Price equals probability. It's that simple. And that's how you get the two sides of every market. It's always a straight-up yes or no. You're either betting it will happen or it won't. And it's that push and pull between the yes buyers and the no buyers that sets the price. And that price tells us what the crowd thinks the probability is. Okay, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because, like any new powerful idea, there's a ton of upside here, but also some serious risks.
So, the promise? It's huge. You're basically creating this amazing tool that takes the wisdom of the crowd and turns it into real-time predictions. But then you have the peril, and it's just as big. Regulators, especially in the US, are not fans. They see it as a form of illegal gambling. Plus, let's be real, it's a high-risk market that could be manipulated.
And that's really the core debate, isn't it? Is this thing a revolutionary new tool for seeing the future? Or is it just a fancy high-tech casino? Honestly, you can make a really strong case for both. All right, so why should you care? Why does any of this matter? What's the big deal about these so-called information markets anyway? This is the whole point. When you put money on the line, you have a real reason to be right. It pushes people to find the best info and show what they really believe, not just what they might say on social media. And that could lead to something amazing, a true market for truth, where being right pays off and being wrong costs you. Okay, so let's do a super quick wrap-up. We've learned that Polymarket is a decentralized platform where you can bet on future events. The whole thing runs on outcome shares, where the price tells you the probability. It's a really powerful forecasting tool for sure. But, and this is a big but, it's in a legal gray zone and it's definitely risky. Which brings us right back to that big final question. Is this the future of information, or is it just a casino wearing a fancy new jacket? Honestly, the jury's still out on that one. Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.